The history of empires is often written by victors, carved into stone by kings, and carried across continents by armies marching beneath banners of conquest. But sometimes the most powerful stories come from the edges of these empires, from nomadic tribes whose names echo across the steppes, and from rulers who refuse to bow before the greatest kings of their age. Among these forgotten legends stands a queen whose courage altered the course of ancient history, a queen whose story survived in the writings of Greeks and Persians, nomads and scholars, a queen who challenged the might of the world's first superpower and won. Her name was Tomyris, the sovereign of the Massagetae, a nomadic people of Central Asia, and she is remembered as the woman who defeated Cyrus the Great, founder of the Persian Empire and one of the most powerful rulers the world has ever known. To understand her story, we must return to the 6th century BCE, to the vast open lands east of the Caspian Sea, where tribes roamed freely and loyalty was earned, not commanded. The Massagetae lived in a world shaped by harsh winds, shifting seasons, and an unbroken horizon. They were expert horsemen, skilled hunters, and fearless warriors, a people who lived and died by the bow, the spear, and the saddle. Tomyris was born into this world of endless grasslands. She grew up among tents stitched from animal hides, among horses that were symbols of freedom. From a young age, she learned the traditions of her people: riding, archery, diplomacy, and the quiet discipline of survival. Strength mattered, but wisdom mattered even more. Leadership among the Massagetae was not inherited blindly. It had to be earned through respect, courage, and judgment. When Tomyris rose to power, she did so as a ruler trusted deeply by her people. She guided the tribes, protected alliances, and ensured unity in a land where independence was prized above all. And beyond their borders stood an empire unlike anything the world had yet seen: the Persian Empire under Cyrus the Great. Cyrus had conquered the Medes, the Lydians, and the Babylonians. He was a master of strategy, diplomacy, and war. Ancient historians describe him as a just ruler, respected even by his enemies. But after uniting the heartlands of the Near East, Cyrus set his gaze eastward, toward the lands of the Massagetae. For him, the nomadic tribes were not merely people of the steppe. They were a challenge, a frontier resisting the expansion of civilization as he defined it. And so Cyrus sent envoys to Tomyris with a proposal that was part diplomacy, part strategy. He offered marriage, suggesting that their union would bring peace and unity between their peoples. But Tomyris was no stranger to political maneuvering. She saw the offer for what it was: an attempt to take control of her people through alliance rather than battle. She refused the proposal calmly but firmly, making clear that the Massagetae would remain independent. Cyrus, however, was not a man accustomed to refusal, and he was not ready to let go of the strategic lands controlled by Tomyris. So he prepared for war. But Tomyris was not intimidated. She sent her own message to Cyrus, warning him that if he continued to push toward her territory, the consequences would be grave. She urged him to remain within the boundaries of his empire, to avoid spilling unnecessary blood. But Cyrus moved forward anyway, crossing into her lands with a vast army. The Massagetae were fierce, but Cyrus was clever. Knowing they were not accustomed to lavish feasts or large amounts of wine, he devised a trap. He left a camp filled with food and wine, guarded only lightly. When a portion of the Massagetae army encountered it, they believed they had defeated a Persian detachment. They celebrated, feasted, and drank. But this moment of intoxication became their downfall. Cyrus attacked suddenly, ambushing them. Among the fallen was Tomyris's own son, Spargapises, a commander known for his bravery. When the young leader realized he had been captured alive, he begged Cyrus for freedom. Cyrus agreed, and in that moment, Spargapises took his own life. News of his death reached Tomyris, and the calm, composed queen turned into a force the world had never seen. She sent a message to Cyrus that ancient historians preserved for centuries. In her words, she promised that she would give him more blood than he could ever drink. It was not a threat spoken in anger, but a vow rooted in justice, grief, and the unwavering resolve of a leader protecting her people. What followed was one of the most decisive and brutal battles of the ancient world. Tomyris gathered all her warriors, the horsemen, the archers, the spearmen, and prepared them for a confrontation with an empire that had seemed unstoppable. The Massagetae did not build cities or walls. Their strength was in mobility, in speed, in the unity between riders and horses. Cyrus's army, though disciplined and experienced, was on unfamiliar terrain. When the two sides met, the clash was thunderous. Arrows darkened the sky. Chariots broke through the dust. The earth trembled beneath thousands of hooves. Amid the chaos, Tomyris herself rode at the front, not from rage but from a sense of duty. She was a queen, but she was also a warrior, and her people followed her, not because they feared her, but because they trusted her. The battle raged for hours. Persian formations broke under the sheer ferocity of the Massagetae assault. By the end, the Persian army lay destroyed, and Cyrus the Great, conqueror of nations and founder of an empire, was dead. Tomyris had fulfilled her promise. She honored her son, her people, and her land. Her victory sent shock waves across the ancient world. Powerful kings fell in battle, but rarely to a nomadic queen. Her triumph defied expectations and challenged the narratives written by empires. In later centuries, Greek historians like Herodotus wrote about her. Persian scholars acknowledged her. Even medieval legends echoed her story. Some described her as fierce and ruthless. Others portrayed her as wise and noble. But all agreed on one thing. Tomyris was a ruler unlike any other. She did not seek conquest. She did not expand her domain through fear. She fought only when her people were threatened, and she ruled with a balance of strength and dignity. Her story survived because it carries timeless meaning. The power of a leader who stands her ground, the resolve of a mother who avenges her child, and the courage of a queen who confronted the greatest empire of her time and prevailed. After her victory, Tomyris returned to her people. She did not boast, did not build monuments, did not seek tribute from conquered lands. Her life continued in the rhythm of the steppe, guided by the cycles of the seasons and the traditions of her ancestors. Over time, the Massagetae declined, merging with other tribes, fading into the vast tapestry of history. But Tomyris remained, the resolve of a leader who refuses to yield. Tomyris, queen of the Massagetae, the woman who defeated Cyrus the Great, remains one of the most extraordinary figures in world history. Her legacy continues to echo across the centuries, carried not by empire, but by courage.
Subscribe now for more legendary stories from the past.